Touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
Hey everyone, welcome back into The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I am your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube page, be sure to hit that subscribe button below. Be sure to leave a like, also turn on all of your notifications so you can be notified when we drop content on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. I am here each week to break down the latest in Crimson Tide football recruiting news. And on today's show, I do want to shine a light on the potential impact on Alabama's recruiting efforts when it comes to the Texas A&M Aggies defeating the Crimson Tide on Saturday at Kyle Field in College Station. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, along with a couple of key updates surrounding a couple of Crimson Tide's targets in the 2022 recruiting class. When we take a look at Curtis Perry and four-star defensive back Traquan Fegans, who actually decommitted from Miami recently. But before I get an opportunity to talk about all of that, I do want to hit you guys with a couple of recruiting updates that I was able to collect over the weekend, starting with the Crimson Tide's four-star wide receiver commit Kobe Prentice out of Calera High School in Calera, Alabama. I had an opportunity to see him in live game action for the first time when Calera took on the Helena Huskies on Thursday night, and he put up a solid performance. He pulled in one receiving touchdown. I can tell that he has a lot of speed, and I think that is something that the Crimson Tide's coaching staff really likes about him. After that performance, I got an opportunity to catch up with Prentice, and he told me that it actually still feels like a dream come true for him to be committed to Alabama. He said that when he got that offer from the Crimson Tide, he said it was his dream offer when he committed. He said it felt like a dream, and he's still living that dream as an Alabama commit during his senior season at Calera High School. So it looks as if the Calera product and the four-star wide receiver is still locked in with the Crimson Tide as he continues to move through his senior season at Calera High School. Another guy I want to discuss before I dive into those recruiting updates is actually a guy many of you may not know about, and he is a guy I actually saw compete against Prentice and Calera on Thursday night, and he is 2024 running back Jordan Washington out of Helena High School in Helena, Alabama. This guy has the potential to be one of the top running backs in the 2024 recruiting class, and that is something that we like to do at TouchdownAlabama.com. Introduce you guys to some of the younger budding prospects, and Jordan Washington is definitely one of those guys. He put up an impressive performance on Thursday night against Calera. He actually rushed for 221 yards. He scored one touchdown, but he piled up a lot of yards on 36 carries. This is actually his third straight 200-yard performance. He's coming off performances where he rushed for more than 270 yards in the last two games before the Helena Huskies defeated Calera on Thursday night. So he's a guy that you definitely want to know moving forward. You guys can learn a little bit more about him over at TouchdownAlabama.com. But those are the two recruiting updates I wanted to hit you guys with at the top of the show. But now we are going to move towards the impact that I feel the Texas A&M Aggies win over Alabama will have on the Crimson Tide's recruiting efforts. Of course, every fan in the Alabama fan base knows that the Crimson Tide suffered their first defeat of the season at the hands of the Texas A&M Aggies on Saturday night. It was the Crimson Tide's first loss since 2019, and a lot of Alabama fans are going crazy over this loss, and deservedly so when you consider how the Crimson Tide's football team performed against the Aggies in College Station at Kyle Field. In terms of recruiting and the impact that it could have, I'm going to start this discussion off by talking about the Crimson Tide's commits. I had an opportunity to catch up with a couple of them, in Antonio Kite and Jake Pope. And Antonio Kite, you guys can read his quote right there on the screen. He basically was telling me that he felt that the game was a good game, and he gave respect to Texas A&M and the win that they were able to pick up over the Crimson Tide. But he also said that he feels that the Crimson Tide have to make fewer mistakes and they have to play all four quarters. I had an opportunity to talk with a fellow defensive back committing Jake Pope as well, and Pope said that he felt that it was a good game as well. He feels that everyone loses, but this will serve as a great learning experience for Alabama's coaches and players. A couple of other Tide commits took to Twitter at the conclusion of the game after it was over, and they discussed that they felt that the Crimson Tide was going to bounce back, including four-star offensive lineman Tyler Booker out of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. He said that it was just a loss that the Crimson Tide suffered, but they were going to bounce back. Sean Murphy, the 5-star linebacker out of Virginia, went on to say that he felt that the Crimson Tide were still going to win it all. And we had Kobe Prentice just tweeting out Roll Tide, just basically picking up on what I said earlier in the show, that he still feels like it is a dream come true with them being committed to the Crimson Tide. So as far as commits are concerned, it is no surprise that Alabama is not going to lose a commit because they lost to the Texas A&M Aggies. I feel that this win goes a long way for the Aggies in their push for some of the recruits that they had in attendance, like Walter Nolan, like 4-star edge rusher Ine White, and a couple of other guys in 2022 and 2023 recruiting classes, with the atmosphere that was created by their fans, by their team, and by their coaching staff, and also by their students, with the atmosphere inside Kyle Field that defeated the #1 team in the nation. Fans rush the field. That is a great experience for any recruit. That is a great experience for any fan of the school who was able to have their fans rush the field. So I'm pretty sure it was a great experience for some of those top recruits, and I think it's going to go a long way for the Aggies and their push for those guys. But I still feel that the Crimson Tide is still going to be in a good position for the guys that they want. I don't think this win damages Alabama's push for any recruit at the moment, but it is a loss, and I think the Crimson Tide's coaching staff is going to focus on bouncing back from that loss and continuing to try to make a push to repeat as national champions this season. But that's what I want to talk about today in terms of how that loss impacts Alabama's recruitment. A couple of critical updates I do want to discuss around 2 in-state targets for the Crimson Tide, and those guys are Curtis Perry and Traquan Fegans. I had an opportunity to see Perry in action on Friday night when Pike Road High School took on Healing High School in Pike Road, Alabama, and Perry put up a dominant performance, was able to play multiple positions along the Pike Road defensive line. And I think that is why he's listed as just a defensive lineman on most recruiting sites, because of the versatility that he brings to the position group. He's a guy who could be a defensive tackle at the next level, or he could be a defensive end, could possibly be an outside linebacker. That is the versatility that he brings to the game. So he was really impressive in that performance. He told me that he felt like he has gotten quicker during his senior season with Pike Road High School, and that is something Nick Saban actually pointed out during his last trip to Tuscaloosa, which was when the Crimson Tide took on the Ole Miss Rebels. He took an unofficial visit to Tuscaloosa. He discussed that visit. He discussed his conversation with me that he had with Nick Saban. He said it was a great opportunity to just talk with Coach Saban again, because it has been a minute since he has been able to come to Alabama during a game day visit. The last time he was in Tuscaloosa was in 2019 before the COVID season. So he said it sort of felt like the first time just getting back to Bryant-Denny Stadium with it being at full capacity. He said he really enjoyed the visit, and the Crimson Tide are in a really good position with him heading into his top 5, which will be released on Friday. He also told me that he has a commitment time frame in mind at the moment. He wants to commit after the state championship game, which is something that Pike Road High School has his eyes on at the moment. So he's a guy who could commit around that November-December range. That is the time frame that we are looking at, which is pretty close to the first national signing day during the early signing period. So he's going to pretty much commit pretty much before the early signing period. That is a couple of months away right now, so that is the time frame that he has in mind. I think he's a kid that definitely wants to make a decision before the traditional signing period. I think his decision is going to be in the book during the early signing period. So that is the update I wanted to provide you guys with about Curtis Perry. I do feel that the Crimson Tide are in a great position with the Pike Road High School product at the moment, with him releasing that top 5 on Friday. In my opinion, I would say Alabama is the favorite for Perry at the moment, with him announcing that top 5 on Friday. But I also want to talk about Traquan Fegans, the 4-star defensive back out of Thompson High School in Alabaster, Alabama. Recently decommitted from Miami before he committed to the Hurricanes. He was considering the Crimson Tide. They had an opportunity to see him camp during the summer. They had an opportunity to host him, and he said that the Crimson Tide rose in his recruitment after that visit. So that is something to definitely pay attention to. He's a guy I feel Alabama is in the mix for moving forward here in this 2022 recruiting class, with him being decommitted from Miami. The Crimson Tide currently have commitments from 2 2022 4-star defensive backs in Antonio Kite and Jake Pope. So Traquan Fegans would be a nice pickup as the Crimson Tide continue to try to add some more defensive backs quarterbacks to their 2022 recruiting class. So those are the recruiting updates I wanted to provide you guys with today. Talk about Curtis Perry. I feel that Crimson Tide are the favorite for him heading into him dropping his top 5 on Friday. Also discuss Traquan Fegans, while I feel Alabama is in the mix for with him being decommitted from Miami. I also discussed the Crimson Tide's recruiting impact when it comes to them losing against Texas A&M over the weekend. So thank you guys so much for joining me today on our YouTube page. If you're not subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button below. Also be sure to leave a like whether you are subscribed or not. Then head over to touchdownalabama.com. Pick up your subscription today. With that subscription, you will be able to read all of our subscriber-only articles, get your hands on our yearly print magazine issue, also get an opportunity to read all of the latest Crimson Tide football recruiting news. So be sure to pick up that subscription at touchdownalabama.com. Then go to the Google Play Store if you have an Android device, or to the Apple App Store if you have an Apple device, to download the Touchdown Alabama app. With that app, breaking news notifications can be sent to your mobile device. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama.
Process.